Welcome to the How to Hustle podcast, brought to you by Blockspace, your creative agency. That's BLOXSPACE.co. That's BLOXSPACE.co. Blockspace.
Welcome, How to Hustle podcast with Joey Hustle,
Jasmine Vandermeed,
and Rowan Bender.
the Three Musketeers.
Today we're talking about how to gain some financial freedom. Not necessarily debt-free financial freedom, but financial freedom overall. I'm going to start us off today with a couple rapid-fire questions from my co-hosts here. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. The name of the game is answer as quickly and as mindlessly as possible. Okay. So, Joe, what did you want to be when you were 5, 10, 15, and 20?
Honestly, a billionaire.
All different ages, a billionaire.
Wow.
Yeah, because honestly, I've been working since I was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
So, when people say, you guys don't do paper routes these days, but back in the day, you start out with a paper route, you cut grass, as you get older, you find other hustles. But, I've been hustling since I was 12 years old. Yeah. And I've been paying bills since I was 14.
Nice.
My money was going towards taking care of my mom and my sister and paying bills.
Hustling, for sure.
Hustling.
Ro, what's the last purchase that you regret making?
That bag of fruit that literally just sat in my fruit basket and went bad.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even eat any of it. It was terrible. It was
Absolutely.
very sad.
Joe, how often do you eat out during 1 week?
That's why I'm not financially free.
Exactly.
That's a big one, because I'm trying to cut back, but my wife is an entrepreneur too, so we have, we work.
Yeah.
So when we go out to eat, that's our reward for the day or week. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of the hardest things for me too, is trying to just plan around my busy day.
Yeah, plan a meal.
Yeah,
sure.
for
And I know it's hurting my body, and I know it hurts us all. When
and
we
your
don't
pocket.
And of course, our pocket is number one, because that's what we're talking about is money. But health wise, it's more healthier to plan your meals out and structure yourself that way.
Yeah, but meal prep, that takes a lot of time.
It does.
So whatever you're going to do, that is not a hustle. That is a...
Grind.
It's a grind, yeah. Rowan, do you have a financial role model? Someone you want your pocketbook to look like?
No.
Simple. Okay, Joe, what's one thing that's under $5 that you buy more than once a week?
Not coffee.
Coffee.
5 times a day. Six times, 7 times a day. I mean, not a day, a week.
Oh.
Sometimes 2 times a day.
So that moves me into no longer rapid fire, but my next question, do you guys have some sort of spending journal or a monthly budget that you do every month? You do?
For sure, an Excel spreadsheet that has all of my bills and shows me how much in the red I am.
There you go.
It's super positive to look at every time, but it really lets me know how much money I have for gas, fuel, and stuff like that. I think it really helps everyone allocate, because then you can type in what you want to put in savings and put everything exactly where you want it to be. Really helps me know what I can spend money on. So if I want that really fancy box of cereal, the $7 crunch granola with banana slices,
right,
I can get that maybe on next paycheck. But this one, I'm probably gonna go for the $1.50 Cheerios. So I think it's very helpful. What about you, Joe?
Listen, I went to a men's group on this past Saturday before Easter, and they did a description of women and men and how women think and how men think.
Okay.
And men have all these little boxes that are organized in their head, right? So we can sit there and watch TV with a remote, flipping channels, and someone can come up to you and say, "What are you watching?" "I'm just watching TV." We don't have all that stuff. You guys could tell a whole story about the same thing. I'm like, budget? I don't know what a budget is. I need to learn what a budget is, because I just know what I have, and I know what I can spend, and I just keep it moving. As long as my bills are paid every month, I'm cool.
Right, yeah.
But it is true that as I get older, we have to get more mature with managing our money to be a good steward of what we have.
Well, to be financially free. I mean, you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's all fun and games while it lasts, while you're eating out, but...
It's not good when it's zero.
What are you going to do when that, comes to an end?
And it happens, but for me, it's the lifestyle. It's entrepreneur, because it's feast or famine. and you're striving to get to a place where it's feasting all the time. Right. But the ups and downs of business, the ups and downs of raising money, growing companies, life, wife gets mad with you, you're not talking, all that stuff, but it's life, and I think we need to stop using the excuse of why we're not doing something because of life.
Right.
Because if we do that, because I have artists that I still mess with in the music game, and they're recording, one of my boys got maybe 100, 200 songs, but ain't put out an album.
Right.
Life keeps happening to him. Oh, I need to do this or I need to do that. Instead of just getting it and putting it out and making a career out of it. They may just be the bedroom artist forever. They may never get out. And it's sad, but it's just true. For us, we have to grind every day, and I like to pride myself that I'm moving the puck up the whatever they call it. Keep moving it forward, Every day I'm making steps and planting seeds for tomorrow's harvest.
Yeah, right, which is the topic of discussion today. For me, I've been trying the past couple months over this new year to write down my spending throughout, the week. And I say the week is because I just do my planning for the weekdays, and I leave my Saturdays and Fridays open to my wallet and my night. If you know what I'm getting at there.
Just open a tab, just put the card number down.
But that's also planned, like I have a certain limit that I put on myself.
That's the financial freedom you're kind of looking for. You can get the fancy apple teeny over just
right. Like I want a lemon drop instead of a PBR.
Exactly.
And I can't do that yet, but after 6 months of planning, hopefully I can.
Yeah, maybe 3 lemon drops.
Yeah. Oh, instead of 4 PBRs, yeah.
I guess I'm aging myself. What is a PPR?
Oh, PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Oh, okay.
It's America's favorite beer.
I know the
Shout
beer.
out.
Least favorite beer.
This is not an ad.
Isn't that
I'm
a cheap
just
beer?
A fan. It is
the cheapest.
I don't know. I guess.
I think Rolling Rock's the cheapest.
Oh gosh, Rolling Rock is
because I'm used to the old English 40s. You know what I'm saying? Sitting on the curb with your 40.
Oh gosh,
it's definitely still a thing. But
it's still a budget. It's a budget friendly thing. Yeah, Edward 40 Hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's perfect. Oh gosh, that needs to be a bumper sticker or something like that, or like a trashy graphic tee.
I'm making it.
Or my trashy Friday night.
I'm making it right now.
Oh, amazing. But yeah, so that's kind of my thought going into this is financial freedom talk is I've planned my next 6 months of income out theoretically, not down to the nitty gritty, but just as to what the dollar amount I want to have in 6 months. I have a goal set and I have a list of ideas on how to reach that each week. And I guess we'll just start sharing some of those ideas on what you can do. Yeah. First of all, make coffee.
So how did you make
coffee.
This plan for 6 months? Like, what did you do? How did you handle this? Excel? Or
okay.
Did you just, this is a mental
first,
map?
I was like, yo, Jasmine, what kind of dollars do you want in 6 months to be in your savings account?
Oh, I know.
What does that look
like?
This
is for your van, right? You want a van.
A tiny house.
A tiny house. I'm sorry.
It's a tiny house, guys. And that's the longer term goal. I mean, that's more of like an 18-month plan. But for 6 months, short term goal there. I thought, what do I want to have in my bank account? I want to have blank amount in my bank account by that time. Then I look at what I have coming in, my revenue sources, my side hustles, my job, So what kind of money comes in? Then look at that in regards to how much I want to have and see what's actually feasible.
So, yeah, I feel like what you're saying a lot is kind of looking at where you want to be.
It is,
and then you can adjust your hustles or your work hours from that point.
Or your spending,
Yeah, exactly. You need to know where you want to be, though. Like, if you're fine living in your apartment where you are now, then you can just plan out steady.
Right.
But maybe in 6 months, you want to be living in a different state or in a tiny home where you want to be traveling the world.
Or you want to go on vacation. Yeah.
You need to, I think that's very
Or you want to get married.
Planning.
You got a ring to buy or something.
You need to think about these things for financial freedom in advance. Then you can calculate, do I need to work 20 hours a week, or do I need to work 60 and then still have 4 side hustles so I can go to Tahiti for 5 years? Like, you need to think about these things. So I think that's the most important step in financial planning, is know where you want to end up when you start.
Yeah. What does the financial freedom that you're looking for look like for you? You know, where do you want to be? What's going to make you comfortable? What are the barriers bonding you to, you know, your paycheck to paycheck lifestyle right now, and what can you do to get out of that?
Yeah, and so I think definitely paycheck to paycheck lifestyle is a huge thing in our generation, for sure. Like millennials, huge problem, and even in older generations. I mean, to be frank, when we go to McDonald's these days, there's a lot more like 50-year-olds working at McDonald's because their old trades or whatever aren't making what they used to, or they can't do them anymore. And
or to pay for their kids' college, they're side hustling or side jobbing at McDonald's,
or driving for Uber after their regular 8-hour shift. They're trying to make ends meet because they know where they want to go, but they have to have that side hustle or side job to get yourself there. So that brings me to Joe. Joe, you are an entrepreneur who somehow stays afloat bill-wise. Unbeknownst to the rest of us, how you do that. Do you want to explain to us how you budget and make your side hustles work for you?
On a business level.
Yeah.
Woo, that's deep. That's a deep question. For me, it's about, like I said, the feast or famine, because some months I have nothing. You know what I'm saying? But the bills are paid. Right? So if I have a little extra, I have extra, and I just stack. You know, and I just keep stacking because our bills are X and our expenditures are Y, and it evens out. You know, I have a wealthy sugar mama for a wife. Her business makes more than mine right now. I'm jealous. I want to, you know, do better, but, you know, that's the competition between husband and wife. But for me, right now, building this company and building the foundation, I'm looking forward to what 6 months looks like, what a year looks like. What does our building look like when it's finished? You know, what more employees are we going to have, you know, partners and staff people? You know, where are we going to see ourselves in 18 months, 2 years? You know, we're about to start our raise on Start Engine. We're doing equity crowdfund on Start Engine coming up. What does that look like? You know, what is our messaging to people? Why, you know, why us? Why this? Why that? I think the biggest question you guys should ask yourself is, what do you have vision-wise for your life? You can, you know, mark stuff in boxes and check marks and stuff, but without vision and knowing where you're going, that's the problem. And most people don't look at vision that way. You know, my interpretation of vision may be planning. You know, it may be writing down my goals. It may be, you know, talking with people and building relationships with people to say, hey, let's leverage what you got and I got, and let's build something. You know, so in that, it is vision. You know, did you know Amazon didn't make no profits for almost 20 years?
Oh, yeah.
How did they do that? Because he was able to sell to investors vision. And look at the behemoth that it is now.
Right, yeah.
But without that vision, he couldn't have sold it, right? And then investors wouldn't have waited for him for that investment to kick in. So that's what I look at. You know, I look at vision. What is the vision for us? What is the vision for your life today, 6 months, a year? You know, where do you know that the goal planning is awesome. You got to write stuff down. I have a big issue like that because I live in my head and I'm trying to force myself to get out of my head, you know, and as a dreamer, as an entrepreneur, as a person with vision, you know, I see it's easy for me to have vision, but other people don't. But they could do other things that are better than what I could do.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it all balances itself out.
Opportunity costs.
But if you partner up with people that have vision and trying to go somewhere, you'll be that much more successful because you'll be feeding off of what they're laying down. You know, if you hang around people that are like you with no vision, lost, you know what I'm saying?
Ouch.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general to the people listening. If you hang around, if you hang around people that have no vision, then how are you getting edified? How are you growing? It takes one person to say something that sparks something that moves something.
Right. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, what you're saying a lot is you have to have that vision, but and you start out by saying you have to know where you want to go. And I think a good example, a metaphor, if I'm using the correct term there, is like if you have an arrow, you know, you can shoot that arrow, but you have to have a target to shoot it at. You need to know where you're going. I mean, you can shoot it up at the sky, but ultimately it's going to come crashing back down on top of you if you have no clue where you're going. So I know if you're in college or you don't know what your major is, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about where you want to be, not necessarily physically, but more kind of mentally. What kind of freedom do you really want to have? And it can be physically if you want to be in that tiny home or that apartment, or if you want to, be in a penthouse. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a big part of it, is still knowing where you want to be while you're planning for your financial freedom.
Right. Yeah, the world's made of a ton of different types of people who want a ton of different types of things, and step one is just figuring out what it is that you want, what's going to bring you peace and joy into your life. And then the next step is figuring out what you need to be able to do that. First, it's a math equation, in my opinion. You look at the green and you look at the red, and you see what you need to make that work to get where you need to go. Unfortunately, we all know that this earthly life is completely overconsumed with money.
Short as well.
Yes, short, but it's ran by the dollar signs, and in order to have some of the things that people might want in life, you really gotta make a plan.
I mean, here's a question: if I make it to 70, right? They did this math on that the men's group I went to on Saturday,
okay,
and they said you have 1,000 Saturdays.
Until 70?
Until you die.
Wow, that's
Could you see?
Crazy.
That's small, right?
That's small, yeah.
Think of that. 1,000 Saturdays.
I can count that.
That's cray-cray. That is.
That
think about that. I'm like, dang, man, I got to get living.
Yeah.
I got to start jumping out of planes and doing what I want to do. But it takes, a lot of the things that we deal with is fear. And a lot of people don't like talking about fear or anxiety about, what am I going to do? How am I going to do that? I'm struggling. I'm only doing the McDonald's job right now. How do I get out of the McDonald's job to do something that could make something?
While still needing the McDonald's job to just drive.
And the hardest thing for me, because I went through some health issues, sitting down more than, 8 hours or 10 hours a day is getting rough for me. Where I used to be able to put 15 hours in with no problem. Mm-hmm. Even if I got up and walked around, did a little exercise and stuff, I used to be able to last. But I'm barely lasting 10 hours now. So I got to look at what is causing me that, because without that, I can't do the 8-hour sleep, the 8-hour day job, and then the 8-hour hustle. Because we have 24 hours in a day, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours to work, 8 hours, what are you doing with? Are we just watching TV? We're not planning our future. We're not planting seeds, and if you really wanted to get out of the McDonald's job, you would have 2 McDonald's jobs.
Right.
You feel me? Mm-hmm. You'd work 2 jobs and then stack.
Yep.
Exactly.
You save one of the incomes completely.
Exactly. Because the poor are getting poorer, and this is just a fact. You hear Rowan over here. She's she got a boyfriend, but they live alone. Her bills are X. She only makes Y. How is she making it? Mm-hmm. With 10 cents left over. And nobody should have that. Especially with the talents that she has and you have, and that's what I'm trying to speak to the millennial generation, to sit there and say, you have talents. You just got to find out what you like. Like for my son, I told him try everything, because you don't know what you're going to like.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You might get stuck in a job that it's paying the bills, but you're miserable. I don't want to be miserable.
I don't think I want to see anyone living that kind of life.
Yeah, but a lot of people are,
And a lot of it is, like you're saying, Joe, it's a lot of anxiety and fear of it feels like it has to be some leap from point A to point B to get financially free. And that's just not the case at all. It's a matter of building yourself a bridge across the gap that you see from where you are and where you want to go.
Yeah, you can take it in small steps. You can, work 2 jobs for a little while, then work 1 job, and then do a side hustle.
$10 from every paycheck, and just tell yourself, no, I'm not going out on Tuesday like I normally do for dinner, and every Tuesday what I would have spent on my to-go dinner is going in my bank account, and then at the end of a month you'll have $40 you didn't have. Mm-hmm. $40 that you can spend on gas that you couldn't buy last month from your paycheck.
Yeah, I want to go to the beach this weekend. I have enough gas to get there and back and have some food.
Yeah.
I all that is great, and it's needed, and we all need to look at that, but I'm looking at the heart of the matter, I guess. The fear and anxiety will stop you from believing. What if you were beat up your whole life? How are you supposed to find vision if you don't believe in yourself? You don't believe in, I could be anything I want to do. And I think the biggest thing for our millennials and younger people is that they need to know that they have hope. And hope for a future, hope for a better future. What can I do? I'm not talented. I can't sing. I can't rap. I can't, hit a hammer. I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of excuses, But you just got to hang with people. I think that's my message for anything that I would say is surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are those people out there who don't have that fear, anxiety, or anything like that. They're all confident in themselves. What would you tell those people who they can't make their bills, but they're working, a full-time job and going to school, or got 2 part-time jobs? I mean, what would you tell them to do, Joe? I mean, you're the experienced older gentleman of this podcast trio.
Thank you for calling me old, guy.
You're welcome.
All right, guy. No, but for real, it comes down to, I don't want to keep saying vision, but it comes down to what is your passion? Because if you could find your passion and find a way to pay for your passion, then you'll never work a day in your life. And you hear that all the time, but it's real. It's fact. Mm-hmm. Even though life has ups and downs and life happens, if you stick to a plan and go forward, you will make stuff happen. And you got to hit the walls. Sometimes you got to hit the walls. Sometimes you got to fall on the floor and cry out. Sometimes you got to just do whatever, work that extra 5 days, whatever the case is.
Right.
You'll get through it. And this is wisdom even speaking to myself. I'm hearing it in myself, right? It's coming out of my mouth. It's going in my ear. And I'm like, yeah, my hustle could be amped up by 30%. You feel me? Yeah, the truck, they're emptying big trash over here. It's okay. But anyways.
We're building robots.
Yeah, we're building robots.
The AI army is currently attacking our podcast.
Yeah, we're just distracting you from the real thing.
The real deal. The sky's falling. The sky's falling.
Guys, Skynet is so real.
So real, man. Let's not go there because, like I said, hey, so yesterday, who was I with yesterday? You didn't come yet. You was here yesterday.
I was me.
So we started talking, and I'm going to go send this email out to a client, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And I went to go write this email in Gmail, and it spelled out what I was going to do before I did it, because I did it before. Mm-hmm. How does that happen, people? AI. Yep. I'm telling you, I'm making an email.
True. It's the Google search engine.
Dude, that's crazy.
Strongest things in the world.
It's crazy, and not only that, but if you've been somewhere or drove by something, it will tell you you've been past this.
Because Google knows where you are, because you use Google Maps.
You need to turn off your location.
All right, I think that's a totally different podcast.
I get it. We'll go there later. Love conspiracy theories, but right now we're talking about hustle and doing a side job. So what are some of the side hustles? Not the side hustle. You wanted to call it. What were you calling it?
Well, there's side hustles and side jobs.
Side jobs. Let's talk about side jobs.
Yeah, so, first of all, I guess the difference, Rowan has a great difference between side job and side hustle.
Yeah, so we typically describe a side job as something where you put in, hours, and what you put in is what you get out of it. You reap what you sow. You work an hour, you get $10.
Yeah.
But a side hustle is more where you put a lot of initial work into it, as in building a website or building a building or something like that. And then you make money while you're asleep, while you're not working, while you don't have to put hours in, where it's self-sustaining afterwards.
Right.
But sometimes that does require a lot more work in the beginning. So maybe you're not quite to the side hustle level, as we like to call it. Maybe you need to start at the side job level.
Yeah, or maybe you've got a great idea and you're like, dang, I need $400 to start this, website that I want to start, or this, side hustle that I want to go. So you work a side job first. Side jobs there are a lot of them out there these days, actually, like a lot of crowdfunding stuff. But Uber, DoorDash, Care.com for babysitting. DoorDash is food delivery around town.
Dog walkers.
Yep, Wag.com.
There's even this one app called Gig Walker. Well, if you're walking in a big city, you upload micro tasks of taking a picture of a storefront for Google or something like that. Those are all kind of side jobs you could do. Those are smaller ones. Of course, there's real part-time employment you could do. We call those more part-time jobs. Right. We're talking more of kind of micro jobs, something that you can do for an hour or two, just earn a couple extra bucks.
Or for Christ's sake, you could just sell your stuff.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that, look in your garage, look in your bedroom. Yeah. what excess stuff do I have?
What can you get rid of in order to build something more,
Because giving up my TV would be hard for me.
Right.
If I had to go, give
and in the long run, that might not help you in any way. It might give you the money that you need to start whatever you want to start, but it's not going to give you the peace at the end of the day.
No, it's not.
And you can, if you're crafty, you can sell your crafts. I don't know if any of you have seen modern art paintings. They're circles of black paint on a white canvas, and
maybe,
people will buy those for about $90 on Etsy. So if you can draw a circle, I'd recommend giving that a shot. Throw some glitter on there. You might get 120 for just a circle, people. I'm telling you.
Hey, it's art art is interpretation, right? So
it's a circle of life.
It's a circle of life. You
With
might like
glitter.
it. Whatever's your gig, you do it. But there's other sites like Fiverr where you can do micro tasks for people, freelancer. There's so many things out there that you can do, but you just got to figure it out and say, okay, this is where I want to be in a year. This is where I want to be in 2 years. I got school to finish. I'm going to finish X, Y, Z. I want to have this kind of money in my bank account. But what are the steps? And a lot of people have problems finding the steps to that thing.
Sure.
I want to be a speaker. Well, how do I start? Right?
Well, first you have to become an electronic instead of a person. A speaker.
That's funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
A speaker.
So hilarious.
Yeah.
That is so millennials. No, I'm just playing.
Woohoo, okay.
No, but
Hope
anyways.
someone's laughing out there.
Yeah. But I love the speaker. Okay, let's listen. All right, but anyways, where were we going?
How to get
steps,
places.
the
So
steps.
so we're talking a lot about money, but we also talked about vision and seeing where you want to be and where you want to go. So I know, I'm a marketeer. I want to be marketing every product in the entire world and be the only person doing it. So not only do I need to graduate school, step one, but I also need to have a pretty hefty portfolio in order to be in a position where people are going to look at my stuff and want to hire me over other people who have the same degree. So a place like Freelancer or Fiverr works excellently for someone in my position. Not only can I side hustle and get money coming in from doing these little gigs, but I'm also building my portfolio at the same time, which is a double step towards my goals.
Definitely.
No, yeah, I think that one of the biggest mistakes people in college make specifically is thinking that they need to wait until they graduate
to do anything,
to use the skills that they're learning.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's the typical, internships, do something during the summer. But, your example is perfect. You're getting a degree in marketing. Go get a marketing job. After you're a freshman, you've already taken some courses. More than most people already spent $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well go put it to work for you. Maybe if you're an engineer, I wouldn't recommend putting your engineering skills quite to the test.
But you might be able to find, you might be able to, if you're a civil engineer, work in Anderson Construction's office, doing some office clerk and
CAD work.
And you know what?
The stuff, the entry level stuff that you can be doing,
but do it in a space that's going to get you somewhere that you want to be.
That it's an investment
rather than working at McDonald's.
Yeah, let's get on your resume because right out of college, if you've only worked at fast food, yet you already have a bachelor's or even a master's, heaven forbid, and you've still only done fast food or like Home Depot, you're not going to get hired because you don't have any of that experience. And I know that's one of those things we always complain about on our Instagram feeds or Twitter is that we're supposed to have work experience and a college degree. And it's true because if you don't, I hate to tell you, you're being lazy. Like, you can do it and you have to fight for it, though, because there's going to be all those people who want that job. And of course, you're going to have to prove that you're better.
Yeah.
Those are the people who end up succeeding later on in life is because they fought while they were young. And, didn't do the whole party, let's get tattoos on our knuckles right when I'm 16 type thing, They learn how to go out there and, really fight for what they want. And you don't even have to know what you want. What if you're a writing major, your freshman year, and then you switch over to being a business major?
Mm-hmm.
If you already know how to write, you can go get a writing job at the local newspaper, like guaranteed. Not that many people read the newspaper.
Yeah, but, we're speaking a lot to our generation because, we like to talk to ourselves. But, it's never too late, My dad growing up he worked in IT and he saved up and then he went out on his own and started his own, company. And he did that because of where he actually wanted to be. He wanted to not only be financially free, but he wanted to not work for someone. And that was just what he saw as his ideal vision of his life. So, at 45 or whatever, he went out of his way and did that. So.
Well, what my mom used to tell me is Colonel Sanders didn't make Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was 70.
Yeah.
So age isn't but a number. You can't look at your age no more because we live in a digital society. As long as you're growing with tech and staying close to technology, you'll be relevant for the rest of your life. If you're somebody that doesn't, what is it called? I guess my goal in life is to stay relevant until I'm 90.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With tech, with fashion, with whatever, because I have a passion for it. I have a passion for music. Music will keep me young forever.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's what you're passionate about, you know, and that's the cool thing. But you are making a great point there when you say relevancy is a big part.
It is, because people get in a certain age, and then, you know, like teaching old dog new tricks is reality. You know, a lot of people are like, I still got a flip phone, you know, or I don't want to do that. Why do people do that? You know, I just want to do this. That's fine. It's your choice.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you want to be, you know, happy, you know, find out what makes you tick. You know, you know, like my poor uncle. I love him to death. He's my dad's brother, second to youngest brother. He's really the only one on his family that really watched out for me my whole life. You know, always checking in at least once a year with me. He has a pension from one of the aircraft people, like Donald Douglas or whatever, Boeing. He did 30 years or 35 years there, and he also did 25 or 30 years in the military. So he just retired last year with 2 pensions.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
He has the money. It's not the money. He sits around. He don't know what to do with himself because he was so military trained. He'd get up at a certain hour. He'd drive to his job, do his job, drive home. That was his routine. But now he's like, well, I got all this time left. Maybe another 20 years. What am I going to do?
Right.
You know?
And that's about what's going to make him happy. He doesn't even need the money at that point.
No, he doesn't. But he doesn't know because he's been so, you know, because military trains you to be focused, you know, driven and to accomplish a goal. He's accomplished 2 goals. But what's next? You know, well, go get my master's degree. Well, the college is too far. I'm tired of driving that way. Oh, I may want to do some real estate. I'm like, cool, do some real estate. You know what I'm saying? Have fun with it. He ended up doing Uber for a little bit, you know, trying to get out there, you know, but
keeping himself busy.
Yeah, you know, and I just think that you know, we got to get the age thing out of our heads, and we just got to start, you know, meditating and dreaming a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, dream a little bit more. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. I'm the perfect example of that. Anything that I've wanted, if I put it in my heart, I've accomplished it. But the consistency of believing in yourself when life hits you down and you don't have nobody around you to give you courage, nobody around you to speak life to you, then what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you guys have, as students at the college, do you guys have down low points?
Oh, once a day.
Somebody's trying to call in. Hey, caller, you're on the air. We'll do that next week. But
yeah, low points, you know, like emotionally low points, or absolutely.
Stuff that gets you thinking like, damn, it's hard.
It is. I mean, I think everyone has some point in their life. I mean, probably in their daily life.
But how do you?
Down.
The question is how do you shake it off?
I'll eat a piece of chocolate.
Oh my gosh, I struggle with that. You know, like I get pretty anxious, and I kind of deal with a little bit of anxiety here and there, to say the least. But it's hard to try to stay focused and try to keep hustling and try to show up to work when I feel like, why is it worth my time to even do that if I'm just gonna fail? And sometimes it comes from, you know, nothing. Sometimes there's nothing that's even going wrong.
It's just life. It's just, I call it a tax. I just call it a tax because, you know, some Mondays are great Mondays for me.
Right.
Some Mondays are horrible. Like I don't even want to be there, but I'm here just pushing through, trying to move the puck up the field, you know, trying to move the game, move, show up. Show up. It's the hardest thing to do.
It is. Show up.
It is the biggest thing.
Yourself.
And that's the key. See, you just said it.
Yeah.
Are you showing up for yourself or somebody else?
Yeah, well, that's what I tell myself. That's like pretty much what's pushing me through this term, which it's a hard term for me, taking 21 credits and working basically full time. But sometimes I wake up and I'm like, this is not even worth trying to do. Like, I have 6 weeks left and there's no way I'm going to do it. But then I look and I'm like, no, but like my boss is happy with me right now, and I have all A's in my classes, and
Keyword is right now.
Right now. Yeah.
No, I mean,
and there's savings in my bank account, and I have plans tonight with my boyfriend. Like, nothing is wrong, but it still just feels like the world is going to crash down. And the thing that I do then is to just tell myself, well, these are feelings, they're emotions, they're real to me right now, but that's right now. And I have to be the only person that's going to help me work through that. And so I just go back and focus more.
It's the way I look at it is moment to moment.
Exactly.
This moment, I'm rock on. I'm ready to go.
And I try to just take control of one thing that I can take control of. I mean, you were talking about the lists and check boxes. I know you were looking right at me when you said that, because I have this very detailed journal.
It's a cool journal. I admire it.
Journal.
It is a cool journal, and I'm like, dude, how do you do that?
But it's check boxes, 3 different categories: work, school, play. And play is really important to me because I think I'm only 21, but life is short, and I don't know how many years I have, so I'm gonna have fun every day. And so I put one thing in each of those categories at least. Usually there's like 25 in each category, and I check the box off, and I bring myself like joy when I check a box off. It's like a little chip taken off of my shoulder, and so if I'm feeling super anxious or super down or super like I'm incapable or like I can't do this and I'm never going to be good enough and I'm never going to have what I actually want or I'm never going to be happy, I check a box off, or I add a new box in the play category because maybe that's what I'm missing at the moment. Life's a triangle. You can't just feed one aspect of your life. You have to
it's a whole thing.
Yeah. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I think I really like the checking the box is usually very satisfying.
Yeah.
Especially task-driven people. Mm-hmm. But definitely play. If you hustle too much, you're going to hate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm there. I've been there. I've visited that planet. I don't want to go back, but it's a struggle because when you're carrying a lot of responsibility on your shoulders and vision and keeping a company moving forward, it's a lot of pressure. It's definitely a lot of pressure. And some days I fail and other days I win. But the ultimate goal for me is to show up every day and try to give my best and do my best. And for us as a team to grow. Not only, knowledge wise, but financially, the connections we're making, are we making them for long term where we can leverage a relationship later, right. Because I'm always about leveraging or coming up together with people, working with people. Let me use your skills. You can use my skills. Mm-hmm. Let's do something together.
Build the world up.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. Any of this cannot be about Joe.
Well, I remember when I interviewed with you back almost a year ago, right? 9 months or whatever. You and I had quite a long conversation, and we talked about your idea of like success. And I can't remember exactly, but you framed it in a way that was like you're climbing a mountain. Your goal is to get to the top of this mountain, and the mountain is the success that you're trying to make. Or whatever goal you're trying to reach.
Financial, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. And you're climbing up that mountain. And if you're at the top, and I think this speaks for different people, but you said if you're at the top and you're standing alone, then that's not where you want to be. That's not what the top of your mountain looks like. And I think there's a lot to be said about who you have who you're climbing the mountain with.
Yeah,
your life mountain with.
It's doing life with people, and that's the biggest thing because for me, I maybe it's because of my upbringing. My wife tells me I never want to be alone. But
I think I have that too.
Yeah, but I've translated that into working with people as my job. People are really my job. Managing them, helping them grow, moving forward. That's really my job. And to encourage. I'm an encourager. I'm your cheerleader. You have a vision for something. Hey, let me help you. Let me point you in the right direction. This podcast is all about helping people get that side job, get that side hustle, and try to find out where they want to be, 5 years from now, next week, and a lot of times we got to do short-term stuff because the long-term looks too big for us. Buying the building that we got, I just looked at it and I said, I want it, and I got it, and it's not because of finances, it's because of vision. The vision showed up, right? I moved to Oregon, only been here since August. We found the building. You know, we have plans.
team.
We have the team. We're ready to go. You know, and that's the goal. You know, it's always about people, though. You know, that's the reason why I bring in the mental health stuff. How are you dealing with school? How are you dealing with your stress? Do you see? But we have but we do that. That's what I'm.
Right.
I think as more people understand that we all have bad days, then they can understand that, hey, I just had a bad day. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was just 24 hours ago. I'm good today.
Yep.
You know, I'm ready
slept sideways.
Yeah. I was.
Go back to bed. Try
didn't
again
sleep well.
tomorrow.
Exactly. You know, I didn't sleep well. You know, got in a fight with somebody, argued with somebody. It's hurting my heart. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to deal. I got disrespected, blah, 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 blah. Some people get stuck in a cycle. And then they're like, a week went by. 5 weeks
I've
went
been
by.
in bed. I find myself in a hole like that occasionally. I mean, wish it wasn't true, but probably once every 9 months I find myself just stuck in bed for 3 or 4 days because I'm just so down on myself.
Yeah. And that's the key word, right? Down on yourself. Nobody did that to you.
Nobody did it. And no one's going to bring me out of it. And that's the thing that, I mean,
we all need to understand that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing to any success is managing our mind, managing our emotions, and really, really surrounding ourselves with good people.
I guess I have a question for you on the topic of that. And me and Ro are pretty young. We don't have families to cater to. You do. You got kiddos, a wife, and all that jazz. I can't imagine having like a responsibility at home. I don't have anything. I have my things that I need to get done. But then when I go home, it's just me and my time and my situation, whatever I want to do with that. What does that look like when there's people you need to take care of?
When it's functioning well, it's a blast.
Right.
But when there's dysfunction and you're like, man, we're not talking.
Well, things are easy when they're easy.
There you go. You know, and things are hard when they're hard. But you try to balance it. And the biggest thing for me is the one goal that I want my family to know is that I love them with all my heart and I'm doing my best. And any of my kids know I'm swinging for the fences every time I get up to bat. Even though I may fail, I may fall down, I'm still swinging. I'm still going for it. Sure.
And but not from what your kids, you know, what you want your kids to hear. You answer this question, but for you, for your own psyche, for your own good. I mean, I know I have things I need to do for myself every day, just for myself. What does that look like for you? Do you do that? Do you have?
No. When people ask me, well, do you have a hobby? You know,
yeah,
I'm seeing a shrink, right? Dealing with my stress, dealing with what's in my brain.
That's time for yourself.
That's time for myself to be able to pour out into somebody and somebody give me some ideas, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like my work and what I do here is life. It's everything, you know. And I wish I had, not call it a side hustle, but something else to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I do this, what I'm doing today, I do basically 24 hours a day. You know, I don't have anything to turn off. Like, I used to go to the movies once a month. I haven't been to a movie since, I mean, I went and took Shazam, my son, last week to Shazam. But before that, 6 months since I've seen a movie.
Oh my gosh, Endgame is coming out.
Yeah, that we're going to do. We have to do that. But my son's already saying, Dad, we're going, right? And I'm like, yeah, we got this, dog. We're going to make it happen. But, you know, the dysfunction in my life right now is that I don't have a turn-off point. You know, my turn-off.
I think that's a great thing to notice is that is what's causing a lot of dysfunction. Maybe.
It is. It's 100% because I'll go home and I'll love on everybody and then I'll go to my room and I'll watch some veg TV. Yeah. And I'm like, because my brain, because I'm a really thinker, so my brain is always on. And the funny is, this counselor, she brought it up and she said, you know what, Joe? I think you have what did the Warriors come back from the Army and stuff? PTSD. She says because kids that grew up in violence and on the streets, because she deals with a lot of gang members, they have PTSD and they don't know that they have it. And because I'm hyper vigilant, meaning I could walk in the room and we had this conversation, I could see everything.
Yeah,
I see everything. If you got a booger coming out your nose, I see it. If a fly's over here, I see it. If something on the floor, I see it. You know, and she's
attitudes too.
Yeah, you know, and she's sitting there saying, you know, it's because you've lived in a hypervigilant state that's why you do that, because you had to look over your shoulder all the time when you were in the streets hustling. If you're in the streets hustling and doing dirt, you always had to be vigilant about what's going on around you. You had to see the popos. You had to see the other gang members that didn't like you. Whatever the case was, you always had to be on.
Yeah.
And now it's turned into, wow, why do I see everything? There's stuff I don't want to see, right? But I see it. And I'm like, why do I got to see that? And then she gave me some examples, and I was like, wow, nobody else has spoken that to my life. So what does that mean? Anytime you're ready to change will show up.
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be something. This is what I'm going to give my last point so we can finish up. Any decision I make with my heart, it happens. If I make it with my mind, it's not going down, right? So it has to be purpose-driven decisions, purpose-driven to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm struggling in these areas. I want to get better. Mm-hmm. I want to have the best Joe today, tomorrow, and next year, and only getting better. What do I have to do to participate in that movement?
Right. Living intentionally, I guess, is the point there. That's the thing I tell myself, which I think is the same idea, is if I'm not doing everything every single day with the intent of bettering myself for tomorrow, then I'm going to get sad about tomorrow. And that's just the way that I keep myself sane. And I do struggle, like I said, with anxiety just about life and self-doubt and all that stuff. We all do, yeah.
We all do.
And that's what I tell myself, is that if I'm doing everything with intent, I'm proud of myself.
Yep.
And maybe sometimes I'm faking that until I make it. You know,
that's
like,
okay.
I'm like, Jasmine, I'm so proud of you today. And then I'm like, no, actually I'm not, but that's cool. I'm just going to tell myself that, and I did everything intentionally today, and I checked all my boxes, and, whatever that looks like for you, whatever your intentional thing that is going to make you proud of yourself, that's, do one thing every day.
Check off that fun box in your checklist. Do something that makes you feel good about yourself.
So, yeah, something that just makes you smile towards yourself, about yourself. I think that everyone, and I think we all should try this week, is let's do one thing every day that makes us happy that we did that. And that we're working towards a goal, whatever that might be, financial
100%.
freedom or not.
Yeah. And in reality, the reason why we're here is we want to uplift each other and uplift you and give you opportunities to, be part of a community that we're building. Because honestly, I wouldn't have success if I didn't seek out the community. If I didn't seek out Gary Vaynerchuk, if I didn't seek out Tony Robbins, I didn't seek out Maxwell, all these, great writers and great encouragers, how would I be encouraged? I don't have nobody every day in my life saying, you rock. Mm-hmm. Nobody says that to me.
Well,
but
you should say that to yourself.
I do, but I'm saying, but in reality, we don't have a lot of cheerleaders in our lives. We have namesayers, we have doubters, we have people that wave, doubt and wave, But it's hard to have somebody to encourage you every day.
Yeah, you shouldn't even need a cheerleader. You should be your own cheerleader.
Yeah, but you got to train yourself. How do you do that? And those will be other conversations we have. But, for me, it's surrounding myself with positivity and words to encourage me on a daily basis, and to give me ideas for what I'm going and what my vision should be and how I should work with people and, leverage social media. Because, that was what I was going to share with you because you brought it up. One of the things is, unconsciously or consciously, we look at the IG, we look at Facebook, and we see people doing stuff. And they might be bigger stuff than what we're doing.
Yeah.
And self-consciously or consciously,
it looks like we're not doing enough.
We're not doing enough. We're not valuable. We don't have it. Man, I wish I had what they have. Whatever, envy, whatever that stuff is, that's the emotional ruts that we have to pull ourselves out of. Because we're all equal. We could all do it. It's just believing in yourself that you can.
Yeah. So I think back to that thing you were saying, we all need to do something fun for ourselves this week. I think to wrap up this episode, we should each rapid fire each other about something that we're going to accomplish by next week for ourselves. Do something for ourselves. So Jasmine, what are you going to do tonight or tomorrow to make yourself feel good?
Well, actually, I think I mentioned this last week, but I'm writing a children's book as a side hustle, but also I just love to doodle and write. So my goal is to have the cover of my children's book drawn.
Love it. I think we're going to check in with you next week, next Tuesday, to see how that's going. Joe,
I hope you do.
Tell me what you're going to do for fun tonight, tomorrow, this week, and then I can check up on next week.
For yourself.
For
what are you
yourself,
gonna do
not for anyone else.
Yourself?
Well, when this podcast is over, I'm going to go to the barber and get shaved up.
There you go.
I pamper
perfect.
myself
That's it.
and then I got to get my toes done. So, that's coming
Get
this
the
week too.
pedicure.
I haven't had my toes done in like 7 years.
Oh my
Have
gosh.
I. He's such
Hey,
a lady, everyone.
I've
out
only
there.
had it. Listen, I only did it once, and now I'm infatuated with it. So I ain't touching my toes no more.
Infatuated.
I'm going there.
Look
They're
at
gonna
those
take care of me.
womanly words.
Because people, a lot of people, especially women, they look at my hands. They're like, Joe, they're soft. They're too soft.
Really soft hands.
That's what I'm saying. It's like people look at me. I'm like, well, I work on a computer, bro. I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
sorry I don't have,
Calluses.
calluses and all that other stuff, because I'm a thinker, not a doer. You know what I'm saying? I don't, I have my son for the heavy lifting. If I need something hammered, I call him up and
Rowan.
say, yo.
Oh, what am I gonna? I didn't think.
What are you gonna do, Rowan?
This.
What are you gonna do for
Rowan
yourself?
is gonna make some hanging shelves out of pallets to put pictures and candles on.
Love it.
So
What
I
a
can
fun
make my
project.
house feel more like a sanctuary rather than a.
And you're going to take
A
pictures
box.
and let us put it on our social media, right?
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, I'll post a picture of the cover of
Yeah,
my book as
that's
well.
what I'm talking about.
Perfect.
Also, whenever the book comes out, guys, June 2019. Please buy your.
Is that your date?
Yep, that's my date.
Did we get you your domain and all that and you're ready to go?
Nope, not quite. I was just working on all that jazz, but
Okay.
the book's about a little tiny octopus, so everyone stay tuned, and we'll check in with you guys next week.
Have a great
Yeah,
week.
everyone have a great week. Thanks, guys.
Joey Hustle out.
Welcome to the How to Hustle podcast, brought to you by Blockspace, your creative agency. That's BLOXSPACE.co. That's BLOXSPACE.co. Blockspace.